Yeah, I mean, it feels a lot better. A little quicker time climbing up. Okay, so ladders. I've already filmed this actually once, and then I realized my output on my video quality, I had it way down to like 400 or something, so blurry. So I guess I'll just do this again. Sorry for the delay on the videos. I'm still dealing with the flood stuff. I mean, it's been a few weeks now, and I don't even have water yet. So anyways, here we have a character, and he's got a small ground check, which is just a ray cast down from an empty, which is around his knee height, in case we need it, and then just a very simple get axis vector setting into an animator and controller move with a cinema camera, right? So there's really nothing special here in the ways of the controller. It's just a very basic, we're moving, simple controller, third person. We have a ladder here and we want to be able to climb it. So we need to set that up. And on the player, I also have marked tag as a player. So how do we do this? Well, on a ladder, we are going to give the ladder, I also give the ladder a layer. So he has his own layer. But what we need is some objects here. Trigger, and make it a little bigger. Something like that. Don't need the mesh renderer, we don't need the mesh filter. Now we have a spot here, and we're going to give it an empty, and we're going to come out a bit, turn it 180, and now we have a spot there. So this needs an FSM, and it needs a trigger event for the player. And this is going to store the player, so if the player enters it, then the player is here. And we need another trigger event here, but on trigger exit, player gone. So pretty simple. Player just enters and exits this little trigger, and we have this little empty object here, and this is going to be our marker. So we need an FSM on the player. We'll call it ladder. You can make this like a parkour system and have ladder just be an extension to it. But what do we need? We need a marker, and that's probably almost good. We might have to add a few things to that. So here, set FSM game object. And the ladder, we're going to give him the marker. That marker. Swap that to the player variable. And we're going to bring it over here as well. And this time we're going to set it to none. Or just put it to none. I'm going to put it just as that. There we go. And then here, as we're moving around, let's get key down. Let's use the space key. We'll do some sort of action. In our case, it's going to be a ladder. So what do we want to do? We want to get FSN game object to start off with. Oh, apparently I have some variables here. Let's get rid of those because you guys haven't seen those yet. Like I said, I had to film this like twice. The third time. So we have a game object variable called marker. So we're going to fill that up. And we want to check if marker is null or not. And we have a few events. I should almost get rid of those too. That might confuse you guys. So if it's null, we're going to do a skip. If it's not null, we're going to do action. So skip and do action. So skip and do action. Right? So now it's more or less if I'm here and if I hit space, oh, I'm going to wait till it plays. If I hit space, obviously nothing's going to happen. But if I come near the ladder and hit space, it wants to do something. Essentially, that's what we're doing. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to get position. And we need 2 of those. Get rotation. We need 2 of those. So we want rotation of the marker. We can call that marker rotation. And we need the rotation of the player. So there's our rotation. I apparently had a few extra keys there. And we need our position. And we want the position of the marker. Alright, so now that we have those, so we need to interpolate. We need 2 of those. So we want to interpolate from our position to marker position, and this can be a new variable called set position. You can always store it into our position as well, I suppose. Actually, yeah, let's do that so we use less variables. So it's just again that much cleaner. And when we're done, let's say we're in place. And then we're going to do the other one, and it's going to be from our rotation to marker rotation stored into our rotation. Right, because that's our position, marker position, our position. And this one I'm going to go just slightly faster because we're not going to use the event on this one. We're just going to use it on this one. It doesn't matter which one you use the event on, but whichever one's using the event, I want that one to finish after. So now we want to set position. And we want to set rotation. So our position is going to go to our position every frame. Or our rotation. Sorry. Our rotation needs to go to our rotation every frame. Our position needs to go to our position world space every frame. So once we're in place, now we need to do something. And this is where the animator comes in. So we have bool is climbing. And we need a float climb. And we need create a bool ladder top. Let's create a substate machine here. And in it, we need an on top, on bottom. We need a blend tree, which is the actual climbing. So when you come on top, or parity if you come on bottom, both of them end in the climbing. And then we need an off top, off bottom, and both of those would be coming out of climbing. And when they're done, they can go to the exit. And all right, so let's go from here. Let's go, okay, if we're idle, we can go to state. If you hold down the mouse button, we can go to the on top, and we want to go to the on bottom, and we can also do it from the walking. On top, on bottom. So now we can say, all right, exit time off. If is climbing is true and ladder top is false, we can do that one. Turn off exit time there and do is climbing is true, but ladder top is true. Then we're going to go that route. And we do the same thing over here. Right, so if we're is climbing is true, ladder top is false, compared to is climbing is true, ladder top is true. Then we come up and it runs into these. So when those are done, they just have exit time and feed into here. So the blend tree itself, though, is going to use our climb variable, and it needs 3 motions. A 1, -1, and 0. So climb down is -1, idle is 0, climb up is 1. Okay. And then now for the exits, exit time off, is climbing is false, and ladder top is true. And again over here, is climbing is false, and ladder top is false. There we go. So that's our ladder. So from over here then, what we're saying is we have we get the marker and we get these positions. What we need is a way to say if we're top or bottom, right? So back into here, let's use a bool ladder top, and let's go back into our trigger on our ladder and set FSM bool of our player ladder top to false. There we go. So here, here, when we're getting all our stuff, get FSM bool. Because now we can get our ladder top. And we can probably do that here. Set animator bool. So while we're doing our positioning, ladder top can be equal to ladder top. Now once we're actually in place, we need to set the other animator, bool of is climbing to true. Now once that's in place, we can, let's just put a tiny weight actually, 0.5 seconds, nothing major. And once, the other thing we want to do is set root motion. This is just a really easy way to do kind of the entry and exit of the ladder, and it also makes the climbing look better. So we're going to say root motions on when we set climbing as true. Now once we get there, we're going to get axes. Our vertical axes. And then we can set animator float. Climb to vertical every frame. So that there, just that alone, should allow us to walk over to the ladder, face any direction we want, and hit climb. And we turn and we go on it. We got to move that position up a bit. It's obviously a little too close, but now I can climb up and down using root motion. Right? Pretty cool. So let's, like I said, this marker's a little close, so let's just move it back a bit. Obviously, depending on your animations and models, you got to kind of play with that. You can do it procedurally as well, but we won't get into that kind of complex stuff right now. So that's cool. That's, you know, we're there. And we need essentially another one of these. And you know, let's name these things. Bottom trigger and top trigger. The top trigger, this marker doesn't do a 180. Needs to sit like roughly there. Now obviously in the top trigger it's a little different, right? Because we want to make sure it's our marker, but we want to say ladder top to true. And then, you know, over here I'm going to place it as false. All right, so now when we want to climb off, we could do it by button, but I think it'd be better if we're climbing and we push down, but we're at the bottom. You know, let's just climb off. So I'm going to make a template. So we're just going to put another FSM here, and what we're going to do is FSM bool test, and we're going to do our grounding. And if this is false, copy that, paste it over here. Only obviously not in air. This will be grounded. And then if we're grounded, we need to know, oh whoops, not bool, get axes. Actually, you know what, let's use axes event. So if we're going down, actually, you know what? Yeah, let's not use the axis event. Let's just use the get axes. Vertical. And a float compare. So if vertical, so this is for the bottom trigger, right? So we don't care if we're moving upwards, but if we're going down, so if we are less than 0, then we might want to climb off. And I think in here, is we want to put a little bit of a timer to this. So we're going to make a float, not every frame, called time, set to 0, then we're going to add 1 to time per second every frame. And if you know what? I think we should almost do that at the beginning. Actually, yeah, you know what? Maybe that is a better idea. Maybe we just do a wait. Do like a wait 0.75. Make that the start state. Because if we just did a wait and then check for grounding, so we do a wait, then we check for grounding. If we are grounded and we push down, we're climbing off. So now all we need to do is send event. Send event. So we want to send an event to the host because this is going to be a template, right? Send event climb off. So save template as ladder off. Should have called it off bottom. So here we have this, but now we can run FSM and do ladder off. And then we have an event called climb off because that's what this guy wants to use. And if we climb off, what do we need to do? We need, well, if you think about it in the ways of this ladder, if we're at the bottom and we want to climb off, really, I guess the only thing we need to do is set animator. Let's set a few of these. Let's set ladder top to ladder top. Let's set climb to 0. Let's set is climbing to false. And let's do a little weight. 0.75 should work fine. Come down here and set apply root motion to false and come back over to our movement. Right. So that will be so we come over here. So it doesn't matter what direction we face. It lines us up, climbs on. Oh, we still got to move them back a bit. And we climb up, and we climb down. Oh. Okay, so the grounding test isn't going to go far enough. So we'd have to extend our grounding, which is fine. It's not a big deal. I mean, I just kind of randomly made it. Let's go 0.6. And now let's see what he is doing. He is being weird. Right, so okay, we're here. We're true. Oh, well, there I used the wrong event. I don't know how I pulled that off. Lord, 100. So that's grounded, and this one. Just totally set them backwards. It's all good. We're not crazy. Not crazy at all. Now we come along, and now we climb. A little bit of a weight there. They're still moving back, and then we come off. Do our climb. Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Is false. Is he not? He is true. Why is he true? We shouldn't be anywhere near the ground. Oh, you know what? I bet you. No, because he is. What the hell is he hitting? Should be hitting anything. Oh, there we go. How about I stop inverting it? So let's go back to 0.6. Valuable lesson for anyone out there. Always put your player on a layer. I should have done that right in the start, right? and that's exactly why, because it's like, for example, like we want to do a grounding check, and we don't want to be hitting the player, right? Like I can go player and invert it, so we can hit everything but the player. Or else, if you're ray casting, you're gonna smack into your own player and screw everything up, like we just did, right? So we line up. So we're true. So we're false right now. The first one looked kind of weird though, eh? So we're true there. Why are we true there? You know, I think I'm going to move that thing back, because that's just... I won't move him too far back. All right, because now that we've climbed a bit, grounding should not show true. It's showing true. Okay, what are we hitting? If I'm hitting default, okay, well, apparently I should just put that to default and call it good. Take the invert off. And this guy needs to be a little closer. It was a little far. Alright, so we come along, we hit our enter. Oh, we've got to be a little closer yet. Alright, so let's move the marker a little closer. And let's go into our timing here, because it feels a little loose. Like, let's bring these down to like 0.6 in place, 0.59. Let's bring this guy down to 0.25. Don't even know if we need a weight at all on him. Jeez, that's... Now we're too close to the marker. I didn't move it that far, did I? I don't think I moved it too far. Yeah, maybe I did. Too far or too close? Oh, there we go. That looks pretty good. All right. So, how do we tell if we're at the top of the ladder? So, if we look at our ladder, oh, that's on top. Let's go with off top for first. So, we have a certain point where we know that we have hit the top of the ladder, and that's going to be, if we look at the ladder, and this is why I put this on a ladder layer, is if we add an empty, and I take the empty and we raise it up, I don't know how high to go, so we're going to go there. And let's do another grounding one, and let's raycast again. Right, so we have 2 raycasts. Now this one's going to be off of, let's better name these, ground and ladder top. So from ladder top, we're not shooting down, we're shooting forward. Now distance of 1 maybe. Has top ladder. And this one needs to be on the ladder. So that should be see a little yellow beam on our head here. Distance might be a little far, probably doesn't need to be that far. Right, so we're false. And if we come over here and we even just turn to look at the ladder, it's true. Right, and that's kind of what we need to run on. Distance wise, I mean, it's really not that big of a deal, but I'm going to bring it down to 0.75. So what is top of ladder? So if, you know, let's build a template for this one too. So if we are get axes vertical, and a float compare, if vertical is greater than 0, we are going up. Right? And if it's less than 0, we are idle or we're moving down. So we'll also use the equal. We don't need the going up. So if it's going up, FSM bool test we want to check grounding has top ladder. If this is false, climb off top. And then let's do send event to the host, climb off. Save that as a template. Climb off top, totally inconsistent naming. So if we are
about what outside?
climb off top, and it has also has climb off, and that should be after the motion. That should work. We might have to, well, we probably will have to adjust some of the stuff here, but right, because if we climb and we go up, oh, it climbs off. So, I mean, it's technically working. Delete that transition for a minute. Oh, okay, now apparently I did something, screwed that all up. Alright, so we're climbing off. Let's just bring this over here for a minute. Ladder top. So that's one thing we're going to have to look at right there. Get rid of that. Is right at that point. Ladder top, because ladder top should be, oh, you know what, we never did. Actually, I thought we did do it. Ladder top. Make sure our ladder is actually doing what it's supposed to be doing. What the hell was that? Alright, so now that we're on the ladder, the top trigger. Right, so we should be in the top. Ladder top is true. Oh, that's what our problem is. We never get the top again. We got to make sure to grab that over here. Fix that positioning. Oh man. Okay, let's see where our lineup is on that. Bring that down a bit. Ladder off top. So that's the other thing we need to do. I don't know if anyone noticed that. Is when we climb off, right, we get all this fun stuff, right? And we had to re-get this. The get rid of that weight. Turn that down.
It's at 4.
Turn it down.
And then that 3, 2, 1. And then that's out. Don't want to.
Okay, why is that? I think when we go off, maybe we do need that weight. Maybe we need a big weight for now. Yeah, see, that's okay. That's kind of our problem. That's our problem. We're doing root motion, turning off root motion too quick. So the easy way to figure that part out is we are off top. Let's go there. We know it's 2.667 seconds. So you know what? If we are climbing off, I'm waiting 2.667. Well, actually, we should technically bool to float. Let's do this. So let's do ladder top, and this is going to be our totally spelled that wrong. Root wait time. So if it's true, it's 2.667, right? And if we're off bottom, let's do the same thing, but I doubt it's going to be the same length. Length is 1, so 1. So therefore, okay, what we're doing is we're going to say, okay, are we at the ladder top or ladder bottom? And we convert that to a float, and now we can wait for that float. So it'll change if we're on, that weight changes depending if we're top or bottom. And then we can set the root motion off. The other thing we're going to need to do is alter this height. So we need to figure out when that kind of happens. Right, so we climb. And it needs to come down a little bit, I think. Like something around there. It's pretty much coming out of his nose now. Which is fine. And that's going to change depending on your animations and stuff. Oh, what happened there? There we go. Now we need to be able to go backwards. And that one, ladder top, would obviously need to go oh, what's going on there? Let's see what's happening. We come over, we go on. Climb. well, the distance is, the direction's good. The distance was a fair bit off. So like I said, 180. And let's put this closer to that on the Z. Alright, so now we have climb up. Climb down. And still adjust a few of those things, I think. Now what's happening there? That's weird. Seem to have some sort of issue now that we're climbed at once. Okay. All right, so what we need something in there to stop those. So let's go like this. Wait, let's call this return. Right? Now if I go into here, and if state test, and over here let's get owner, this will be our self, and if self FSM move is in return, if that's true, we are stopping. And we're going to put that over on this side too. We don't want this event to fire. And if we come over to the other side, by the other side I mean the actual other side, and do that same thing, which we can probably just move that over here so we don't have to get the variable every single time. Self, and if self move is in return, every frame stop. And copy and paste it over here. All right, so that will take care of that little issue. where we come along, we hit enter, we can do our climb, we hit our top, move around, climb down, come along here, climb up. There we go.
I'm going outside.
Okay. So you can still adjust some of the times and stuff like that, I think, but overall, there it is. Right, and if I want to go back up to the top, I mean, that part all still works. And we'll sync that. Oh, messed something up there. Ooh, it's also one of the downsides. Is you got to you almost got to play with the these colliders for their sizes on the ladder. Oh, what happened there? Maybe we didn't fix one of those things. Right, because he says should change that to stays compared to the enters, because he's on climb off, so these things are running, and if I climb off, oh, apparently hit the wrong button. I went down compared to the climbing up. Climb off top. Why is that climbing off top right off the bat? I think we should probably put a weight into those. I think. Oh, that one already has a weight. This one needs a weight. Alright, so we climb up. Climb down. Like I said, we still adjust some of the stuff to it, but yeah, see now I think that's going to be a lot better, having that little bit of a weight there. Yeah, much better. Right, so I mean, other than adjusting a few positions, time, right, like maybe the size of the colliders down a little bit. For the triggers, maybe adjusting these down 0.4. And what else? Set is climbing. See, now this is where, because we have root motion. So we set position, we turn on root motion, and then we do the climbing. But that climbing has some stuff to it. I don't know. I don't think we actually need the weight there at all. Yeah, I mean, it feels a lot better. A little quicker times and stuff like that. Oh, other than the fact we try to go down instead of climbing up. Oh, I meant to actually climb down there, not just walk off the edge. So now these things, like I said, like these are those triggers should be not trigger enters. I think those should be trigger stays compared to the trigger enter. I think that would make a little more sense for those. So you don't have to exit the trigger and then re-enter the trigger again if you need. It would also be a little more, with those triggers, be a little better if it was. Oh, we had something screwed right up there. Oh yeah, it's because, well, again, because of those trigger height, right? But overall, I think it's working pretty good. It could use a little more tweaking. But I think pretty good, pretty solid.